Hello my friends, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Erin and today is Friday, which means it is Book Review Friday once again. Today we are talking about The Sanatorium by Sarah Pearse. I got this in my March Nightworms package, I believe. I did an unboxing and I was very excited for this book. Like, really excited. When I read the plot, I figured this was gonna be right up my alley. Well, I feel very differently after reading it. So today's video will be a more negative review, I guess. Oh, I hate doing negative reviews, but I have to be honest when I dislike a book, and that's what happened. So I think the cover is really cool. I love the blues and the white. It's very snowy and spooky. The sanatorium looks very creepy in the background. Overall, I think the cover is really pretty. I think it's very eye-catching, and I think it fits the book really well. So, not upset about the cover at all. Now, let's get into my synopsis on this book really quick, and then you know the drill. We'll get into my overall thoughts and opinions and just how I felt. So let's begin. The background for this book is Les Sommets, which is a sanatorium turned hotel in the Swiss Alps. Elin is a detective who is currently taking a break from work due to an incident that happened while she was on the job. She's been invited to this hotel by her brother Isaac and his fiancée Lori to celebrate their engagement. Elin and her brother haven't spoken in years, and they have a very detached relationship. Elin has some suspicions against her brother that go way back into their childhood. When Elin arrives in the Swiss Alps, she's immediately on edge. She feels like something isn't right. She thinks there is something wrong with the hotel. Then Lori goes missing, and the weather outside makes it impossible for people to leave the hotel or for anyone to gain access to the hotel. So it's up to Elin to try to get to the bottom of what's going on at this hotel. First off, I really liked the idea of this plot. I thought a cut-off, isolated hotel in the middle of the Swiss Alps with the history of a sanatorium would be a really interesting backdrop for a good thriller. I just didn't think that you could mess up a thriller with such a good ambiance. This is just such a good place to have a thriller set in, and I expected to be very interested and intrigued and on the edge of my seat and you know, that kind of thing. I was extremely bored throughout this book. I really just couldn't wait for it to end. Like I said, it's the perfect setup. I really didn't think you could go wrong with a creepy hotel, but I don't know. There's just something about it that isn't that exciting, and it's really disappointing because of how perfect a setup it is. It's extremely ideal for a thriller, but I don't know. There's just not a good connection between the setting and what was going on. It just didn't connect in a way that I think a thriller should connect, and it just didn't give me the emotions that a good thriller should give me. It didn't make me anxious. It didn't make me want to, you know, bite my nails waiting for the next big thing to happen. I wasn't on the edge of my seat. I wasn't constantly thinking about what was going to be coming around the next corner. No, I didn't feel any of that. I actually fell asleep a few times while reading it, and I was just kind of over it. I didn't really care anymore. I just kind of wanted to get to the meat. The book starts off with a lot of mystery and questions to a lot of things, and I thought that would help keep my attention and keep me intrigued, but it just grew to be really frustrating, and I just didn't care. A lot of the time when there's a lot of mystery to a story, that keeps me wanting to read. It keeps me needing to know answers. And yes, this made me want to know what was going on, and I wanted to know the answers, but I wasn't flipping each page with excitement. It was more just like, okay, are we done? Are you gonna tell me what's going on? Can I get this over with now? I'm ready to finish it. I'm done with the continuous dragging. I guess this book just really dragged for me. I don't know why, because a lot of people love this book, but it was so boring. Let's talk about our main character, Elin. I have a lot to say about her. I really did not like her, okay? I really did not like her. She is going through a lot mentally. The very beginning of the book, you realize that she's going through a lot. She's dealing with a lot. Like I said, she is a detective, but she's currently taking time off of work because of an incident that occurred, and you can tell she's just not doing well. However, I get that. I get that she's going through a lot. I get it. Because at first, I was rooting for her. I was like, you know what? I like her. I like that she's got some issues. You know, I like that she's complex, right? And then when things start going, right? Things start getting, you know, crazy. And she's obviously a detective, so she kind of steps in. Which is all fine until you realize that she's a horrible detective. She is so incompetent. Oh my God. The mistakes she makes, the conclusions she comes to, the things that she does is just so infuriating to read, because as someone who is a trained detective, you're just wondering why they're making so many mistakes. And it's really disheartening to see her make all these mistakes and do so poorly when there is a actual situation that needs to be dealt with here, and she's the best person to help, and she's not really helping. She is so irritating. Oh my God. And like I said, I get that she was going through a lot. I understand she was not doing well. She was having some issues, but I just feel like as a detective, she should have been better and more of a help. She was more of a hindrance, in all honesty. I felt like she was not helping. She was causing more issues for a lot of things, but it drove me insane to read her doing things. I was like, you're kind of stupid. Like, I don't understand why you're doing this. Another thing that irritated me about her is she would come to several conclusions, and she would do them too fast. Like, she would come to the conclusions too quickly. She would gather some evidence, she would get some pieces of puzzle, and she would just make a hasty conclusion being like, oh, this is what's happening. And then when she would act upon that, you know, instinct that she had, it would be wrong. And then she would have to start at square one. And I get that she was by herself and she didn't have a whole team of detectives and, you know, police officers. I get it. But it was just so aggravating to see her go from one conclusion to another, have to start all over, go to another conclusion. It's like, what are you doing? Why? Why are you doing this so quickly? You're obviously not getting enough information, and you're just trying to solve it too quickly, and it was so infuriating to read. I could not stand her at all. She drove me up the wall. As you can probably guess, I didn't connect to her in the slightest, which is actually really disappointing, because in the beginning I felt like I really could connect to her with how she felt and things that she was going through with her mental health. I was kind of like, oh yeah, I get this. She's very realistic and I can kind of get where she's coming from. But then it took a turn and I couldn't connect at all because she was just so annoying. Like, it was so aggravating that the beginning story with her, I just disregarded. I just couldn't even think about her like I did in the beginning, and all I could see was what she was doing currently, and it tainted my whole impression of her as a character. And yeah, she's probably one of my least favorite characters I've read in a while. It takes a lot for me to really dislike a character, and most of the time I like unlikable characters if there's a purpose for that, but I feel like this was an accident. I feel like she was accidentally unlikable. Like, I feel like the author was trying to make her likable, and they made her extremely unlikable to me. So I'm not sure if I'm the only one who feels like that, but I just feel like she was unlikable accidentally. So I don't know. Let's talk about the brother-sister tension plot point. So like I said, Isaac and Elin are not really close as siblings. They have a very interesting relationship, and Elin has some suspicions about him that she talks about in the very beginning and throughout the book. But I just feel like they did not play up this part of the book very well. I was very intrigued about this brother-sister tension. Like I said, I like family drama, and so I was very intrigued by it at first, and the very beginning focuses very heavily on Isaac and Elin's tension, right? And it hypes it up a lot, and I was getting really ready for some big dramatic, you know, thing to happen, right? It's this big dramatic climax about their drama. But in reality, it's more like when things start going kind of crazy in the book, Elin doesn't really think about it, which granted, I get she had other things going on, so Isaac wasn't at the forefront of her mind. But then it's like she doesn't think about it, and it's not brought up at all. And then just like at the end, there's a paragraph where it all kind of just comes out, but it's not really climactic. There's no drama to it. It just kind of is like, it's almost like it resolves really quickly, when the beginning half of the book made it so important, and then just one paragraph is supposed to conclude it so easily. And I thought that was a really big miss, because I would have liked that to be more involved. I just felt like it was oddly spaced out, because it's so heavily mentioned in the beginning, then it's not really talked about, and then all of a sudden at the end, just one little thing, it's like, done, finished, here's your conclusion. I didn't get that. It was really it was a miss for me. I really was upset about this family tension that wasn't really anything, I don't know, it wasn't really as big as I thought it was going to be either. I thought it was going to be some big wild thing, and it was kind of lame. The ending, I felt like the ending was very bizarre. When everything is revealed and you finally find out who's behind everything, it just felt, it just didn't feel like it was the actual conclusion. And it's probably because Elin jumped to so many conclusions throughout the story that I was expecting something else. So when it actually did finally all come out, I was a little unimpressed, I guess. It just wasn't as shocking as I would have liked it to be. It was just kind of like, oh, okay, whatever. I just feel like the author didn't know how to end the book, and the conclusion was almost like an afterthought, and the way everything was tied up was just very weird and strange, and it didn't really fully make sense to me. I just thought it was a little odd. It didn't feel fully thought out. It just felt like an afterthought. It didn't feel like a well thought out conclusion. So I didn't really like that. Then let's talk about the epilogue. There is an epilogue. It's pretty short. However, it is obvious that the author was trying to use the epilogue to set up for a sequel. And when I tell you I hated it, I hated it. It was unnecessary. It was unwarranted. I don't understand what the point of the epilogue was. It just was so random, and I didn't understand what the point was. It was so dumb, and I really hope that there isn't going to be a sequel to this. If there is, I'm not going to read it because, as you know, I hate Elin and I don't care about anything else to do with her. I don't want to read anything else with her as the main character. So yeah, if there is a sequel, I will not be reading it. The way that I'm gathering how the sequel will go based off the epilogue, I don't want to read it. No, I'm done. I don't care. Nah, it just, no thank you. It was just a big disappointment. No thank you. So overall, as you can probably tell, I was not impressed with this book. I think it was a big miss for me. I don't know. I really thought I was gonna read something different than what it was. It's not what I expected at all, and I'm really sad about that because I feel like this book could have been a huge hit. There are a lot of people who like this book, and that's totally cool. I don't like it. I'm not a fan of this. I just expected more from the plot synopsis when I read it. I just expected it to be something that it really wasn't. So, yeah, I'm not a fan. I'm sorry, I'm not a fan of the Sanatorium by Sarah Pearse. I'm sorry, Sarah. I'm sure you are a really lovely person and you worked really hard on this book. That's awesome that you actually wrote a book. I have never written a book, so I think that's incredible. But this was just not a book for me. I might read more from this author as long as it doesn't have anything to do with Elin. Like, if there is a sequel to this book, I will not read it because I just cannot stand her as a character. She was the most annoying character I've read in a long time, so I will not read a sequel to this book. But if Sarah Pearse does come out with something different, I will be open to checking that out. So there you have it, my friends. That is my review on the Sanatorium. I hate doing negative reviews. I really hate bashing books because I know authors work really hard on the books that they write, and I never want to come off as just trashing on their work, but I have to be honest, and that's how I honestly felt while reading this book. And I just didn't like it. Please let me know if you've read the Sanatorium and what you've thought. I would love to know if you really enjoyed it or if you really didn't. Yeah, I'd love to know how you guys feel about it. Let me know in the comments down below if it's something you would like to check out. I would love to know that as well. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. It lets me know what kind of content you guys enjoy from me. That way I can keep providing you with that kind of content. Feel free to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. We can become friends, talk about books, movies, horror, makeup, all kinds of things. I do a lot on this channel, so hopefully there's something for everyone. And with that being said, I hope you guys are having a wonderful day and have an even more wonderful weekend. And I will see you on Monday with a new video. Bye!